Started. It's 7:17. If you could please do roll call.
Commissioner Dillard,
Here.
Commissioner Mohammed,
I'm here.
Commissioner Simmons,
Here.
Commissioner Tassinari,
Here.
and Commissioner Kichi.
Here.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'll go ahead and read the Native American Land Acknowledgement today. And it reads, "We meet today in the community of Iowa City, which now occupies the homelands of Native American nations to whom we owe our commitment and dedication. The area of Iowa City was within the homelands of the Iowa, Meskwaki, and Sauk. And because history is complex and time goes far back beyond memory, we also acknowledge the ancient connections of many other indigenous peoples here. The history of broken treaties and forced removal that dispossessed indigenous peoples of their homelands was and is an act of colonization and genocide that we cannot erase. We implore the Iowa City community to commit to understanding and addressing these injustices as we work toward equity, restoration, and reparations." Next, I'll go ahead and, is there anyone on public right now? Actually, I forget, you have to be in person anyways for this portion, so we will move on past public comment to approval of the meeting minutes from October 17th. I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes from October 17th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion
Aye.
carries. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you again, Steph. We'll go ahead to agenda item number 5, action steps for phases 3 and 4. We'll jump into 5A, which is the final report, and I'll hand it over to Commissioner Kiche, who put together the MOU for our person that we would like to hire to help complete the writing portion of it.
Thank you. So this is just as we discussed in the last meeting that we were supposed to draft something, and
Does it
was
sound like maybe you need just a little closer? I'm sorry.
Thank you.
There we
And so what you have is a draft of what is supposed to be an agreement between the commission and the report writer. And I think it's brought to your attention here today so that we can all together make changes, add things that are omitted, so that we use it as an instrument to make a concrete agreement with the person, so that the person knows clearly what is expected to do, and we also could be assured of, he could also be assured of what he expects from us in the form of times of delivery of the document, payments, and things like that. So this is just supposed to help us so that it's easier to negotiate and make sure that we have the report in good time.
Well, first, I'd like to thank you so much for putting this together, Commissioner Kiche. When I was reading through it earlier, I didn't immediately see anything that I believe is incorrect. I do know that on the last page there are date questions marked in red. But it seems to me that is what we have been talking about in the last month and a half. So does anyone have any other thoughts?
I also thank you, Amos, for putting this together. My only reservation, if I can call it that, is just in section 3 where it talks about obligations of Party A and deliverables.
Mm-hmm.
And I may have this wrong, but my understanding is that the report from the consultants covered a lot of this material already.
Right.
And so I don't know, it seems to me like there's no reason for us to duplicate that.
Yes, so you're saying just copy and paste what the consultants have already put together?
Essentially, or just refer to the report.
Refer to the report.
So then what we do is say, this report was done, with working with this individual, we do a maybe short executive summary, which is our understanding of that report. and then go right to what's happened since then.
Yeah, I guess I agree with you, and I just maybe assumed in my head that that would be used as the base for that. But since that was the draft report or the report from the consultants, that he would just take what was there and tweak it a little bit for it to come from us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I just don't know. I would,
Maybe there needs to be different wording, and here is what you're asking,
yeah, just something that,
especially with short time.
yeah, you're hitting on everything I'm thinking, right? So we have a limited amount of time, and if we can just sort of refer to the report so he doesn't have to try to redraft what they've already written, we just essentially highlight the things we thought were important and then move on. And that's where it's going to still take some time on our part to sit down with this individual to get over the finish line.
Well, I'm in agreement with Commissioner Tassinari, but welcome any other opinions or point of views.
So let me just take, so you say that is in section, page 4, section
Page
2?
4 and page 5, right.
Page 4 and 5.
Can you be specific and like talk about
the
the headers so that I can follow?
Sure. So when the history of the TIC in relation to George Floyd's murder, the results of community negotiations, the charter, the mission, other TRCs worldwide and in the U.S. particular, my memory is that those are in the report from the consultants. In terms of facilitation, training, support, all those things are, again, in the consultants' report. Part of the fact-finding, truth-telling, and reconciliation events up until we started doing our own, that's all there. Safety and law enforcement, there's a big section in there in the consultants' report. So that's all I'm saying.
Okay, I get you now. So, this was just an overall framework. I did not, I think the commission wanted a full-fledged map so that we know. But what is going to go in here is what we will discuss, and it's good that you've already said much of these things is already done. But I also know that the consultant's report did not discuss certain things that we discussed in the commission. And those ones, I think, I will alert them. I will alert the commission on some of those issues that are not there, but they were discussed in the commission. And I believe, I don't know whether they were discounting those issues or it was just that they didn't get them clearly as we were stressing on that. And so there are certain things that are, to me, as a commissioner, are very, very important and need to be in the report, and they were omitted. So that's why I have to put everything so that if any commissioner feels like there's something that the commissioner feels should be discussed and put in there, can be put. Of course, an individual opinion of a commissioner does not have to carry, but we discuss this as a whole and say, is that important to be in there or not? Yeah, so, but a lot of the stuff actually has been done, so there are some areas where they did not help us, and like you say, issues like areas like housing, where we'll have to do a little bit more work here.
Exactly.
Yeah, probably. But much of the issues like methodology, trading, those are already there. But what I wanted to do is to let the report writer know that we expect those things, so that so that we have a framework in which we can judge the report before we send it to the council. Yeah. That's why I did that, yeah. Yeah, but issues of facilitation and a lot of work has been done on law enforcement and other things, yeah.
So, and Chad has his hand up, but just so I'm clear, so you're saying you want chapter 4, B and C left for the writer to put in?
That was my thought, that basically the consultants took us through chapter 3.
Okay.
But I think what Amos is saying is that there may be certain things that were still left out that might have to go in. But at the very least, I think I don't want to obligate our report writer to reinvent the wheel. So somehow we need to just tweak this a little bit so that.
Well, I think the safety and law enforcement was in there. That's why I
Right.
was asking about just workplace discrimination than in housing affordability, because they
Right.
did go a lot into safety and law enforcement.
Commissioner Simmons?
I just had some questions, so I'm not sure when is the appropriate time to talk about it, but it's related to this area, so I'll bring it up and then you can tell me when is the appropriate time for me to talk about it. I understand that the report that was done by the consultants really focused on the process that they were trying to take us through, and it provides the information. But there are several different experiences that we have with the process that, in essence, has created some challenges for the commission over the several years that the commission was around. Where is it that we will address those challenges, or where within this framework is it that we are to address the overall experience that shows some of the problems of collaborating and working with the city council and the city of Iowa City to address issues that based on things that we experience.
That's a good question. You're asking where can we make sure that all history for the entirety of the commission will go into this report, is what you're saying?
I understand that there's oral history and there's things that can be shared. But we have gone through, the commission has gone through an overall experience, and within the experience, it has experienced things that were detrimental to us being able to achieve some of the goals.
Right.
Where in the proposal does it give us the opportunity to talk about those type of things?
Well, I'm just going to say I don't see it in there, but I appreciate you bringing that up, and we should absolutely add that. I would agree with that. Do you have a proposal of where something like that could or should be?
I think that I think that my suggestion is that it's the main real framework of what we're trying to put together. We're trying to express to them the experience which made it very difficult for us to be able to achieve certain things because of certain challenges that we in essence face. Regardless of who's the responsibility, there were certain things that made it very difficult for us to do that. Now, we've already expressed, here's what the consultants did, and here's their feedback. And so, just as Lewis said, I'm very supportive of saying, here's the report, and the report talks about these key things they're important as far as the phases that we took. But we have gone through multiple changes of directors coming in and out. We have gone through issues around chemistry. We've gone through issues around responsibility and role clarity, as far as though the document says one thing, the behavior that has been always portrayed has been inconsistent with what the document says our mandate is. So that was kind of the piece. And then the last piece I would say, and this is just in general, so I'm not trying to put it down specifically. But the last piece was just that, there was this concept of you gave us a responsibility, but you really didn't listen to us to what our needs were. And then you forced us you put us in a situation to do things that were not necessarily consistent with the way that we wanted to do them. So I just think that the biggest portion of it is for us to be able to explain to them that this is a process that you all were responsible for putting the commission together. Here are the things you said, and here's the things that made it very difficult for us to even come close to being able to do the type of work that we thought we could do.
Other thoughts?
I think what Commissioner Chad has talked about is very, very important. And I believe if we could add that aspect specifically in Chapter 2, challenges and limits. I have a section there, but it is in chapter on methodology. So that is probably not very clear because that could be addressing issues of how we are conducting fact-finding and other things. But Commissioner Chad is talking about issues about resources, facilities, funding, and other things. So which is addressed, I think he's, if I'm correct, addressing chapter 2, and he is not seeing there the question of challenges and limitations and problems we had with the form of framework that we were given. Yeah. So.
Am I understanding, Commissioner Simmons, that you're also saying that this should be kind of a sentiment throughout the whole report from us, or more of like there should be a section?
I'm really saying that it should be the sentiment throughout the whole report.
Okay.
Okay.
That a part of it, a part of the experience was, and again, this is my brief synopsis and summary, and I'm not saying it's fully accurate. They realized that there was a problem. Black Lives Matter, a lot of protests. They decided to do something to be able to resolve it. They pulled people together that was, in essence, were able to do it. They had chemistry issues, and because of that, they, after less than 6 months, they had to revamp the whole team, and then put another team together, right? And even the team that they still put together, they still had to do revamping, and still didn't give them the resources. It took them then at least another 12 months before another 12 months before they were able to even come to some agreement to what was going to be involved as far as who the consultants were. And then even after that, even when there was this discussion of making adjustments and changes so that the money could be used, in a different manner, they made it almost impossible to be able to make the adjustment and changes. So even though we quote unquote, the charter gave us the ability to do that, the practice did not. And so if you go through the experience, what we're really trying to say is that you as a city council helped create an environment that you thought was healthy for us, but the environment that was created did not allow us to be able to achieve at our best. And there are a variety of different reasons that we had to work with as the commissioners, as well as that we had to work with as far as collaborating with you all.
Okay. I propose that, I'm thinking that makes a lot of sense, and that we definitely need to capture that sentiment of the experience of commissioners on the TRC in this city. I think that, I don't know how we write that in there, but maybe there is another paragraph before we have the chapters listed that Franklin will interview or sit down and talk to commissioners to get this sentiment, so that he can make sure that it is sprinkled throughout this report. Because as I'm looking at it right now, it's this is just facts. This is like point by point what we need, but it's not capturing, I'm going to say, emotions or sentiments, as I was saying. Would that be fair, Commissioner Simmons?
That would be fair.
Okay. Does anyone?
I have a question for Commissioner
Greer,
Chad. So it looks like in each section here, as you talked, as we should be a little bit holistic in terms of issues of challenges. And so that even the history, just immediately after the commission was formed, there were already some challenges. So we need to add a section, I think that's what's talking there, probably in chapter 1, that really deals with that issue probably in a serious way. In chapter 2 also about resources, there's also challenges we are facing when we already started doing the work. There are also all kinds of challenges a little. So I think he's saying that in the chapter 1, where we are talking about the introduction, and the charter, the mission, we should be very, very clear and give a section there, maybe F, in that section, page 4, where we are talking seriously of the issues that pertains to experiences and challenges. So I think we need to add that. But he's talked about what that will look like. And how that will look like requires that we talk to the report writer at appropriate time to explain to him, this is what we are talking about when we are talking of experiences. He might not pick it very well from just the reports, or it will be too much. And so I believe we will just need some help in terms of summary direction that, okay, here we need this section. And this is an area where you can even write something, give it to him, or talk about it in a different matter so that he can include.
I mean, the only thing that I would add is that, and I'm not saying all the experiences were negative, but because there were times, again, where I felt that from a chemistry perspective, we were all tracking on the same page. But still, even if we were tracking on the same page, there were still things that we were trying to get done that we were not really getting the assistance in being able to do those. Even though we collectively believed that we could and we should, we weren't getting the support in essence to be able to have that happen. One of the conversations is, you know, we wanted to take a pause so that we could digest the information and then we could then move on to the next stage. Well, there was not the support to take a pause because, quote unquote, the contract didn't allow us to do that. So we had to just muscle through, even though that was something that I thought we were all on the same page of saying, let's take this time to take this break and then let's restart at the beginning of the year. So I think we just have to be able to share that not only do we go through whatever the steps were, we have to be able to share what the challenges were in going through some of these steps that were created and challenges that we were facing as a team together, that we were facing as it relates to a team trying to work with the city, or as we were facing as a team trying to work with city council. And I'll say this is my last thing. The last big meeting that I was a part of that we had with the city council, where I just felt where there was where there was a challenge is that they kept pushing things back for us and saying, well, you need to do this, you need to do X, Y, Z. Kept pushing things back when we were really trying to say, we need your support in the work that we were in essence doing. And they didn't, they made a decision that they were not stopping. They were politically correct, but they still were putting in a situation of saying, but we're going to have you jump through so many hoops that the thing that you actually want is not the thing that you're going to be able to get because you're going to, you know, as I told them, you're going to run out of time. So I just think that we have to be able to, within our communication to them report, is be able to at least identify some of the challenges as well as some of the things that could have been done differently to allow us to achieve what we wanted to achieve versus what they wanted us to achieve.
Another question, Commissioner Chad. You see chapter 6, I proposed policy proposals derived from recommendations. And I was thinking, after I've heard of what you said, from not only recommendations, but from experiences too. Can we discuss that too in that chapter, or where in the whole document would you want that to be? Because that's a section dedicated to recommendations and policy issues, things like that, we feel like they need to hear. But we can also discuss those things in the main document to explain the nature of those things. But when it comes to recommendations, we also need that. And I was thinking, as you just talked, that we could not only make proposals based on recommendations from the document and other facts and other things, but also recommendations regarding our experiences. The facilitators, the consultants talked a little bit of that. And so it looks like we will have to divide their document into parts, depending on where we feel like their part fits, yeah, and regarding challenges and other things. So I don't know what you think about a chapter or a section where we will really, really seriously put that kind of effort.
I am supportive of the concept around policy. The thing that I was trying to bring up is the issue around culture. that you can have a policy that allows you to do certain things, but if you have a culture that, in essence, prevents that policy from really being owned, then it can be problematic. So I do think, I don't know where it will, I think the spot that you mentioned is one of the places that culture should be discussed.
I agree with everything, except I'm just a little bit worried that just like the city council gave us a task that was not achievable, we're about to give Franklin a task that's not achievable if he has to achieve this in a month and a half. So, and I don't know what to do with that thought, but that's what I'm thinking, that we just have to be a bit realistic about what can honestly be accomplished, what can he accomplish, and how much time we all have to sit down with him and to give him the nuance that's needed to do the kinds of things that are being suggested.
So I agree.
And Louis, would I?
Oh, go ahead. Commissioner Simmons, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted you. I apologize.
It's fine. I mean,
I understand your point of view, and what I would say is that we cannot just simply give him a blank sheet and tell him to read everything and then put something on paper. I think we have to give him the highlights of what we think the recommendations are, and then he has to then do interviews around these given recommendations, and then come together and say, this is based on the feedback that I've gotten. So I think you have to give him something. If not, then I don't think it's going to be, I don't think that we're going to leverage his time in such a way that's going to benefit us.
Yeah, I hear both of your points, and I think we're trying to figure out a way to make this huge undertaking less of a huge undertaking, because, I mean, it's important and it's a tall order. So how do we, with our busy schedules, help Franklin do this work when he doesn't have all the prior knowledge? Now, I trust that he's probably been doing his own research as much as to his abilities, but as I think I'm hearing what Chad's saying and what we're saying is we were there, so we know what the sentiment is, and how do we give him that information? Now, as a researcher and I believe he's a journalist as well, correct?
Yes.
He probably has the skills to, get that information and then build on the story. And I think that we're going to have to, put in our story. So again, I think if he does interviews, if you don't have time for interview, you want to write your thoughts, email it to him, right? Or see how we can make that work. I don't, just hearing what, I'm glad that Commissioner Simmons is here to remind us of the culture and the experiences piece, because we're being very technical looking at this MOU. That's very important, but only we can tell him that. And maybe it's better if we write some of those pieces up and then he just takes it and perfects it as the writer. I don't know. It's probably, I've already, my own little experiences have been trying to remember and write things here and there, but it might just be compiling all of our experiences and over the last 2 years in this team and, well, I guess not, the last 5 years almost of this entire commission.
Yeah, I
4
think,
years.
Are you done?
No, I am done, yeah.
Okay, I think those sentiments, the reporter is not going to pick them very quickly unless he has been watching all our videos and other things and even our interaction with the city council or even the history before the commission was just starting. Yeah.
Right.
So I think since we take that as a very serious part of a recommendation that we will need the city to know or not only the city, the community, and other people out there. We'll just try to help our report writer as we go along. And most of them, Commissioner Chad has just mentioned them. We'll just look at even the video, taped video that is just talked about right now as he's been talking, and jot things around those things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. I do think that, with that said, we should, under obligations of Party A and deliverables, between the first paragraph and.
Can you give the page numbers, please?
The page number is 4.
Thank you.
Between, I'm sorry, I thought you wanted it the other way around, my bad. Between the first paragraph that starts with Party A and Chapter 1, there should be another paragraph that says that he will consult with us for more, what is the right word?
Yeah, consult with each of the commissioners for their, to obtain their
Experiential.
unique experience.
Yes. Because I think everything that we're discussing is important, but as far as the MOU, I don't know if we need to write everything into the MOU, just know that's exactly what we want and make sure that's conveyed to Franklin and we're both on the same page.
So I'm sorry, where do you want that to be added?
Page 4,
Page 4? Okay.
under number 3, obligations of Party A and deliverables.
Yeah.
After the first paragraph where it says as specified below and before Chapter 1 introduction.
Okay.
Does everyone agree?
Yes.
I agree with that, yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
will help us
Yeah,
make sure
that-
that we get
yeah.
what we just talked about.
And that's a commitment
Madam-
we are making to him, yeah, as a commission, that he and him to a commitment he has to.
We need to
probab-
work together.
Abide by, work together on those things. So that is very clear from before that we are going to help him there.
Absolutely.
And he's supposed to also work with that to do that, complete that task. Yeah.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yeah, Madam Chair, a question for you is that when or maybe we already had this conversation about any suggestions or thoughts of a different way that this could have been done. So one of the things we realized, as an example, is that as we do everything under the city, there's certain rules and guidelines that we had to follow that created some restrictions for us having the ability to have maybe more openness or maybe more transparency, even though they were created for openness and transparency. When do we as a commission have have a conversation around this is what we did, but this is the way it could have been done better?
So you're asking me when do we, in our meetings, talk about?
Or just, yeah, but this is what we're talking about is a person that's going to write stuff up.
Yes.
And so as individuals, we all have experiences and opinions about something.
Yes.
But my question is, collectively, when is it that we're going to come to an agreement on certain things that we believe that could have happened or should have happened that would have made the experience better for us?
I think I think I understand what you're saying. I guess I wasn't thinking of a specific time that we come together until after we have some idea of what the report kind of looks like. And I was thinking that people that were interested in taking a little bit more, I don't want to say ownership of like really working with Franklin would give more input, and then it would be brought to us all and we would, make our suggestions and tweaks together. Probably not at the next meeting, but hopefully a little bit of something at the first meeting in December. But if you would suggest that we do it differently, we could all we're coming to the next meeting prepared, or, I mean, I guess we could talk now about what we agree and disagree on. I think, especially after the May meeting and in June and July and August, we did some discussion of what we agreed with and disagreed with. So I was also thinking we would take from some of that. And also recognizing that while we did move on the same page, we all did not agree on certain things, which is fine. And I felt like that could be something that would be put into the report as well. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, Commissioner Simmons.
You are. Thank you.
I was going to say another option would be to say there are certain things that can go explicitly in the report, but I believe it's still on our agenda to have a presentation to the city council a few months into the new year.
That's what we found out from, that we're allowed to do.
Right. And so if we're going
There's just not a specific date, right, Stephanie?
Right. So that would also be a time that we could present that.
Yes. Also, Commissioner Simmons, I just want to check in, did you have a different suggestion or with the question that you just asked?
No, I think it makes sense. I think the way I kind of interpreted it is that if I have some thoughts, I should share it with the group. And then if that's something that then the group can then work on and then say, this is what we want to do or this is what we don't want to do. So I think that would be fine. And I would also believe that if I'm going to share this information, it needs to be before the next meeting so that it could then be incorporated into some of the work that's going to be done in December.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Yeah. If I think if we could all, if we have any sentiments, and I'll check in with other commissioners that we feel like we want to just make sure we're all on the same page with, let's make sure to discuss it at the next meeting. But also, I think that it should be okay if you wanted to, any one of us, to specifically talk with Franklin about, because it's each of our own unique experience, so that he's also fully understanding what's going on, if you have time for that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if I understood you right, there's chapter 3 there on methodology, and sometimes methodology means a lot of things to people. And you see in section B, we have included challenges and limitations of our methodology. Is that a little bit related to what you just discussed, so that we know exactly where to put your ideas, in which sections we are going to commit ourselves to?
Are you talking about what we just discussed? Or?
Yes, on page 5, chapter 3,
yeah, I see.
methodology. He just talked about the way we were conducting the thing. There could have been other alternatives that could have been thought of or discussed that other commission members.
I think methodology, if I can speak this evening, I think that's a little different, if I'm understanding the conversation, than what Chad's saying.
Okay.
This is kind of, in my opinion, how information was collected, is how I take that, which is a little different than challenges or, experiences of the TRC.
Yeah, I would agree with Stephanie. I think that area, I wouldn't, if I'm reading or hearing correctly, I wouldn't try to find a place to put what we just discussed, because I think what we're saying is we want it to be a feel throughout the entire report. But there are places where maybe it would be a little bit more specific. But going back to what Stephanie said, I would think the challenges and limitations of our methodology is really only about the 7 months that we spent with our consultants, instead of the entire 4 years of the TRC. That's how I interpret it.
Yeah, I get you. The other, I think he's talked about other challenges, especially in the first part of before the commission was launched, whatever. Those ones I agree with. But he added another challenge. Yeah, there were challenges of just even starting.
Of
There
what?
were,
Yeah.
There were also challenges of the way they set it up. That is what I believe is talking about. So it's not just one. So I was thinking, is there another section? Because there are already challenges that we've talked about. I agree with that. That were in the first part about the history development of the commission and other things. There are also challenges about facilitation, resources, and other things that we know of that we'll talk about.
Right.
Yeah, and that will probably go in chapter 2. So what he's talking about is that the method that they gave us to use, or the method we were using to collect information, do other things, had problems or needed improvements or options, if I get in. So can that also get specific? So that I was just saying that in each area here, where we're doing this work, in the history itself, development of the commission, there were a lot of challenges. In the issues about resources, utilization of facilities, and even the funding, there were also challenges, budgeting and other things. Even when it came to the methodology, the way we're trying to collect information, there were also challenges, and we were thinking. So in areas, it's not, so I don't know whether you want us to put them in one chapter or put them where they are more relevant, so that they see that this issue you are talking about is pertinent to the method of how the commission wanted us to operate. This one, yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I mean, I think what I've been saying is that it's not going to just be in one section, it's going to be throughout the entire report. I think that's,
Yes.
so I guess I don't know what you're asking me then.
I get you now, so I think you've answered my question. It's
Okay.
there's gonna be challenges throughout the report.
Challenges
but-
and experiences,
there's
not always
and
challenges. Yeah.
and limitations everywhere here. But for the report writer and for the reader to see these things very well, okay, the reader has to be able to distinguish all the commission, the city council, this, so that they know this is a challenge about this. This is about the culture. This is a challenge about this. So that they know very well, but they're going to be a summarized one, probably in the executive summary, about all those challenges listed itemized, so that they see them very well. But in the document, I think they have to be developed very well, like, okay, the way we were collecting information from people, the way probably we were telling truth, and trying to reconcile with people had problems. And that's what I was thinking. I thought that's what was referring to.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are, I understand what you're saying now. So I just want to make sure I'm following this. So you've already discussed adding on page 4 to section 3 obligations of parties and deliverables. You've already added an F that says that will pertain to TRC experiences, challenges, et cetera. And then, sorry to back up, but then section 3, obligations of party A and deliverables, that first paragraph, you're also adding after specified below period, you're adding that, that the writer will consult with commissioners to get experiences. And then you're saying that to be included in the challenges and limitations, you would discuss, or the writer would discuss some of the challenges to how you collected information and how the resolution reported for you to collect information?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand
you
that.
are
I'm
right,
just trying to take notes.
It's just
so-
like adding section
okay.
E to it. Apart from A, B, C, D in the top chapter 2, there we have to talk about those experiences regarding, no, chapter 3, methodology. Yeah, is to have those challenges there too. Yeah. I think on maybe it would be a D.
So kind of to like the process or the structure,
Yes.
so to speak,
Yeah.
versus
Yeah.
personal, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then just to backtrack from how this conversation started. So are you still wanting to reference this consultant report that was put together for page 4, section 3, page 5, chapter 2? And then I think you were either, I mean, so I guess the way this conversation initially started, that's kind of changed.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, okay, I just
Yeah.
want to make
No,
sure
I
I
think
got
that it's,
Okay,
the report is going to be used to generate something that has roughly this format,
okay.
as opposed to the way I originally suggested, which was just refer to it and then add to it.
Okay.
I want to recognize Commissioner Mohammed has had her hand raised. If you'd like to speak now.
Yeah, hi. Okay. You mentioned earlier, Jessica, that we can meet, one of us can meet with Frank, yeah, the name?
Franklin, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, great. We will send out his contact information after this.
Okay, thank you.
And I also think there's an opportunity, when you look at page 5, chapter 6, policy proposals derived from the recommendations. I mean, I also think that's an opportunity for the TRC to come together to talk about what could have been done better to assist in, making it through this journey. So I think there's a few different opportunities to kind of insert opinions, experiences, challenges. And some of that's going to be the expertise of the writer, right?
Right.
If he's given the information, then, I think his expertise would allow him to kind of put it where he thinks is best, but of course, he'll submit it to the group, and you can say, no, I kind of think that goes here. But I wouldn't miss the opportunity and the recommendations to also discuss experiences, challenges, and, how you get to December 31st.
Awesome. My only other question is, as we're talking and evolving with our thought process, do we need to have, like, I don't know if it's a clause or something that says, like, and the TRC, like, just to say that this is an outline, and we might find after the outline is written that we don't like it anymore, or we need to tweak things. Is it too rigid the way it is that it can't be flexible?
That's probably a question that I'd have to ask Eric in terms of how flexible he thinks the language can be. I'm not sure, because ultimately it's, they're going to be the one that puts your thoughts here tonight together.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I can't answer that question on behalf of the city attorney, so I'm not sure if he feels that this language is too restrictive or if it allows for some flexibility.
Oh, I guess I wasn't even thinking about it in that
Oh.
way. But that's a good thing to bring up. I was
Okay.
thinking just so that he is, understanding what we're looking for. But I would hope that the city attorney wouldn't come back and say that, oh, we put these words here, so we have to stick to these exact words.
Well,
No, I agree. I think I'm looking at it more from the writer's perspective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not the city's.
Okay.
That he's going to say, look, I didn't see the flexibility. It was very bam, bam, bam.
Okay.
So and that's just, like I said, that's an Eric question, and I don't
Okay.
know.
So I guess, so my point was, like, should there be a sentence that says, or like or something that just says there could be a change, or everything is, I mean, I don't see anything besides what Commissioner Simmons brought to our attention tonight coming up,
Cheryl?
but there might be another way to put in there. Were you saying something, Commissioner Simmons?
Was it more the having that we still have the ability, we have the creative license to make adjustments and changes? Is that what we're saying?
Yes, thank you for the words that I was trying to find.
I'm sure, yeah. I mean, that's part of the submission process and your comments back, so yeah.
Okay.
I get the question now. Okay.
All right, yes, that's what my thing was. Commissioner Quiche, did you have any other questions, or?
No, I think we are good. I think the questions that I will have are on the particular details. These are issues of payment terms. Yeah, we have to agree on those ones.
Okay.
And just in a manner that will help us negotiate with him. He might say, no, I don't like that money, I don't like the terms of payment, other things. So
you haven't talked to him about this at all?
me, I have not talked to him about the payment yet.
Well-
Commissioner Wangui, yeah.
Because we need to
but
vote
I
on this
think
tonight, right?
Well, I mean, you could vote on staff moving forward on it tonight, given your input today, or you could ask that staff get a draft to you that, so that you would see it before we just moved forward from this meeting.
I mean, I would prefer to move forward so we can get it worked on as soon as possible, if that makes sense. But if would it be something that if he says he needs, let's say he needs more money, that we say we would have a limit up to a certain amount, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to determine compensation. You need to look at, when you want stuff submitted by, for review and comment, and then a final, completion date. I mean, the compensation right now for what you've discussed tonight is, I'm not sure that is in line with the work that this person would be doing.
So would you be able to make a suggestion of what you think it is?
But I just think that's,
Yeah,
that's a lot of work for that
Yeah.
price point.
yeah.
Okay.
A lot of work.
Yeah, I was worried about it too, but I had to put something in there. And based on staff's experience, Stephanie's experience.
I mean, it's something we need done, so I am open to, I mean, we have a budget, so.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what compensation has been given to people in the past who have helped with the
Oh, yeah.
TRC, whether it was the person you hired to record, or whether it was the facilitators, or whether it was, renting a space. So just kind of keeping those numbers in mind so that, there's,
Yeah, I was going to say, based on that, and figuring, this is just by the seat of my pants, $50 an hour, 40 hours of work.
A
you know,
week?
I'm going to say for a month's worth of work at $50 an hour turns out to be about $8,000, I think.
Okay.
So it's really double that, I would say, is a more reasonable kind of, to start with.
You think double 8,000?
No, double 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't think we have
yeah.
that.
No, I just think,
and he may do negotiating too,
Yeah.
so it doesn't mean that even if you vote for staff to proceed, that there's going to be a written signed contract by your next meeting date,
So that means we can't really have him start until after that.
Correct. And just to clarify, just like the facilitators, the actual agreement would be the city of Iowa City with this person.
Right.
Not, so it's not the TRC literally signing it.
And then when Jeff was here, he said that we could, since it's a contractor, it would be a faster process than with the.
Then doing it like a
consultants.
bid, an RFP or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, it's faster, but, I don't know what everybody's schedule looks like, so the agreement still has to be drafted, and then, present it to him to, he may say, I don't like this, I don't like that. So I just don't want anybody's hopes to be, like, hey, we're going to, is that, the goal? Of course, that's the goal, but I just want to also know that, I don't think that can be guaranteed. But yeah, no work can be done until the city signs and they sign.
Okay, and,
can I just ask you?
Yeah.
If we specified dates and said something like November 18th to December 28th, is the 18th, do you think that would give us enough time to go through the process, or is that too quick?
I think you can say at the signing of this agreement.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because, yeah, but it's just, I think it's the submission dates, the end dates, that are things that are going to need to be firmly stated in it.
Okay.
So that's what I'm trying to
When-
get.
When do we commit to having this completed by?
December 31st.
And that's where it'll be completed, and then the report will be submitted, correct?
Yeah, that's what we talked about. Mhm.
Is that being submitted, him submitting it to us, the commission, to go over it quick before we?
No, submitted to the city
To the
by
city.
December 31st.
Then we have to have a date for him. to submit the report for us to make changes that we
Well, the
feel
la-
like, very
So the
quickly.
last meeting that we have is December 19th. I mean, we're doing the best we can. Stephanie, if our commission ends, and I know we've already talked about this, would it be possible for us to say, like, he finishes it December 31st, but we go over it between that time and between our presentation?
I mean, I think the goal is for it to be done by the 31st.
I say, because if we think that this is impossible, then we have to ask for an extension. That's the only way.
I know, but I think if we ask for an extension, we sort of know what the response is going to be.
No, I don't know if I know that.
Okay.
I don't know if I agree with that. We're not asking for money. We're asking for an extension to finish a report. So I'm not saying we should do this. I'm just saying, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if other people have other sentiments, but if we're facing that we were not going to be able to make this happen, which we have talked about in the last few months, then we either try to make it happen and just see what happens, or we ask for an extension. Commissioner Simmons, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
You didn't cut me off. You were speaking. But this would be my suggestion. Number one is that you focus on shortening the report. So you make sure that it becomes more of an executive summary type of report than a long, detailed report. You can attach the other reports in essence that have been done. If we're saying the 19th is when our last meeting, that's probably the time that we should be coming to terms with what that report is, whatever adjustments or changes that needs to happen on the 19th. That gives us 30 days primarily from the time that, let's say, we can close the deal by our next meeting, which is the 21st.
Yes.
Right? So that would give us, around 30, it would give us a little less than 30 days in essence to get it completed. So my suggestion is to shorten the report. Don't have them write a dissertation, have them write again, like I said, a 2 to 5 page report, and we have to give him direction up front.
And I guess in the meantime, adding on to what you're saying, we can compile the first parts that we've listed on here and give him exactly what we want, so it's not as difficult. I agree with you,
Right.
Commissioner Simmons.
Yep. Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
With a lot of stuff he can, he'll be able to do research by just going online and listening to the meetings. So he'll have the ability to do that. He'll have the ability to meet with us once or twice and then put a report together, send us something. So my suggestion would be a final report. I want to make sure I have this correct. A final draft would be given to us on the 19th, where we would dedicate making any adjustments or changes. So December 19th. Our goal would be to try to get him to sign an agreement. So it's around a 30-day agreement. So if we can see if we can get him to sign an agreement around the 19th of November, that would give him approximately around that time. We want to submit the report on the 30th. Let's say we're going to submit the report on the 31st. We know it's going to be sometime between the 19th and the 31st.
Okay, that makes sense. Stephanie, question. As far as quorum works, are we, since not everyone has to be in person, if we needed a meeting, not saying we, between right after the 19th, would we be able to do that all online? Okay.
Yes.
Just in case. Okay, so it looks like we're saying the date is as soon as signing and to be submitted to us for the final draft review by the 19th of December. What was the other, and then compensation, 8,000 or higher?
I mean, 8,000 seems reasonable for a month's worth of work.
Yeah?
I would start with $4,000 and then let him go ahead and focus on if he wants to negotiate it to be at a different rate. I assume we have the ability to use up to 8,000.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, we
Yes.
probably have
So I would just,
I don't think we've used,
You haven't used it
yeah,
yet.
yeah, we have that much, if not more. Sorry, go ahead.
so I would just simply, no, so I would just simply start with 4,000, tell him it's really, a little longer than the 30-day project. And then if he thinks that, in essence, for us to achieve the goal, he needs more, then we can go ahead and do that. And I would vote for having our chair have the ability to green light it.
Okay.
To do what?
He would vote, you said you would vote for me, the chair, to greenlight whatever his negotiation would come back from the 4,000.
Right. I'll let you finalize the final negotiation. So if we start at 4,000, he wants to do 6,000, and then you agreed to that. I'm fine with you agreeing to that and representing that. And
Okay.
if you need a vote on that today, then I think we should make sure that you have that as a vote so that you don't have to wait. Or what the vote would be is that you would be able to spend up to $8,000.
Okay, does
Now,
everyone,
just remember, this is a public session. Remember, it's a public session. The only thing he really has to do is to listen to figure out how much money he can get. But that would be my suggestion.
right. Any counter arguments? What do you
No,
all think?
Yeah, I think, me, I see the word spending up to.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very, very important because we have not known how he thinks about. He's going to look at how much we want him to do. He can easily say, no, that's too much work for me for that. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
we are in a public meeting, so yeah. Okay.
Okay, I think that we are ready for a motion for, do we need to do a motion, two separate ones, or can we do them all together?
No, I think you need separate ones, but, so you want a final draft for review and comment by, I mean, I get, if you're meeting on December 19th, are you going to be able to read it by December? I mean, you're going to get it, technically, they could deliver it the day you meet.
Okay, so
And, I mean, if it's only going to be 2 to 5 pages, then maybe that's doable, but that's just, something to think about is, do you want more turnaround time to be able to really look at it than, because somebody could literally say, I'm going to give it to you on the 19th.
I guess I hear what you're saying, and that makes a lot of sense. I'm just thinking about the turnaround time and the feasibility of expecting someone to do it in 3 weeks.
Okay. I'm just,
That-
and then for,
Do we want to say maybe at least by the 17th, which gives us 2 days to read?
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that, if that's it.
And that would at least make it in time for putting it into the agenda.
so review and comment is 12/17.
Does everyone feel like that is doable?
It seems incredibly tight, but it's going to be up to him. I mean, we'll find out shortly here whether it's doable.
Okay,
You might say it's too much time. There's very little time, so.
okay.
But then we are,
12/17 is what we're going to say right now. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting, Stephanie? That we need to,
I think on the payments, not on the amount, on the terms of, okay, we have the executive report, if that's okay, we have the main report. Those ones have to be probably delivered at the same time. I don't know. But,
I don't know.
yes, also, there's a third part which just takes everything, all our information we have to be put in a manner that they can be used in the future for reference and other things, so that we don't want a commission where is your raw data? Nobody can find it in a better manner. I think that will be a blame on us.
I'm going to have to pause you guys real quick. There we go.
Are we back?
Yep, you're back up and running.
Welcome back, Lubna.
Can you hear me, guys?
Thank you. So were we about to make a motion to vote?
Yes.
Okay. Stephanie, could you, we need to do two, or can we put them all in one?
You can do it in one. That's fine.
And the right language would be to, I don't know what the right, does anyone have an idea?
Let's see. Move to pursue the memorandum of understanding between Francis Matangi and the city of Iowa City, as drafted by Amos. I guess it must be
I think
too
you're,
late.
I think you're starting well.
Yeah. That's
I think it's just that you vote to allow city staff to,
Move forward.
move forward on working with, basically taking what you went over this evening and working with Franklin to get the contract or the agreement signed.
With an approved budget of, well, like, what about the part where we
Yeah,
start?
the other part, I was just talking about.
Just that
what-
part?
Yeah, so if Lou just kind of wants to restate that,
Yeah.
and then you can do the rest.
Okay, so the motion is to move forward with the memorandum of understanding as currently amended between Francis Matangi and the city of Iowa City to work with the Iowa City Truth and Reconciliation Commission to generate a final report.
Just to clarify, a final report or an executive report?
I mean, I thought,
Because I thought Chad said that it would just be, I thought he said 3 to 4.
Yeah, but that would effectively be the final report.
I guess just take out both of
Yes.
those words and say report.
Yeah,
With that,
generate the required report to city council.
Now, just remember, we just want to have the ability to make any adjustments or changes. So what he's not presenting a final report. He is presenting a report to us. We present the final report. So the report comes from us, not from him.
Right. I understand, yeah. So it's a draft,
draft report.
a draft report to the Iowa City Ad Hoc Truth and Reconciliation Commission. So let's try that for a fourth time, maybe I'll get it right. So the motion is to ask staff to pursue moving forward with the memorandum of understanding as drafted between Francis Matangi and the city of Iowa City to provide the Iowa City Ad Hoc Truth and Reconciliation Commission with a draft report.
Does that sound okay? Okay.
right.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Okay, it's been properly moved and forwarded to authorize city staff to take the document as approved and work with Franklin on getting a draft to the TRC, given the due dates that were also noted in the discussion before. So the December
17th.
17th, and then the final submission between the 19th and 31st of
First.
December. Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
That was for approval, right?
Yes.
Yes.
It was just a little delayed.
Do I also need to make a motion that also allows negotiation but I'm just asking, someone else needs to make this motion. I'm just saying, does there also need to be a motion about negotiation power? Someone else needs to make it, though.
So I move that the chairman has the ability to negotiate up to $8,000 for payment of services rendered by the writer, by the, what are we calling this individual?
Kind of a contractor.
Contractor.
Contractor for writing, for presenting us a draft report. So I move that the chair has the ability to change the financial agreement to the contractor for writing the draft agreement up to $8,000.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to allow the chairperson to negotiate up to 8,000 with the contractor, or I guess with the person that you're trying to work with on doing a final draft report. So all those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Lubna has her hand up.
Commissioner Mohammed?
Yeah, I'm asking who pays the 8,000?
It's from our budget, but the city of Iowa City.
Okay. I have a concern here, I don't know if I can say it.
I mean, she can talk, yeah, you can speak freely.
Yeah, okay. This 8,000 came from where originally?
So when we were just talking about it, the $8,000 is from the budget of 20 grand that we were approved for, I believe, in September or August, for our final quarter of our phases. And so we haven't really spent that much from it. And we all just talked about how the $4,000 is not a lot of money for the amount of work that we're going to be asking this contractor to research and write. So that's where the dollars are coming from our budget to support the last efforts of our mission.
Okay.
Did-
Yeah, but I don't know. I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of concerns about this money.
Do you-
Because, I don't know, just to write a report,
Well,
give me 8,000.
so, I mean, at $50 an hour for a month's worth of work, we were just in the discussion calculating that would be a fair amount for, I mean, if someone's working 40, 80 hours a week for 4 weeks, it would probably, if we were to hire any other professional, and then pointing out the consultants that we have used in the past that were being contracted for $100 an hour, this is still a lot less than what we have paid in the past. And also
Yeah, but
sourcing someone locally.
I can rephrase the question again. Okay, what's that? Who needs that report, and what is going to be on the report for someone that pays that money?
So this is the report that we've been discussing for the last hour about the final report that our commission is required to give to the city council that will be detailing all of the efforts that we have been doing since this commission, not me personally, since August of 2021, or no, December of 2021.
December of 2020.
Sorry, December of 2020. And so part of our mandate is to provide a report of all of our efforts to the city council.
Do we have that all since 2020, so we can see what happened,
Have what?
or what's the commission have done?
Yes, and that's why
Do
we're,
we have that?
And that's why we're asking, we're wanting to hire someone, as we've been talking about for the past few months, to compile all the information and all the experiences that we've had as a commission since December of 2020. We're wanting to hire a person to compile that information so that we can prepare the report. And so,
Yeah, but my question, where is this report from the other commission in these 4 years? Where is it?
there is
Like, what had done?
There is no report in the last 4 years because we're working to create a report now. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're asking, because the report.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna rephrase again. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. My question is that in these 4 years, what the commission have done, like something that we see or something happened, actually, that they can have this report
Yes,
in real life.
we've had a lot of activities in the last 4 years, 5 years almost.
Activity or solving problems?
Something. I didn't hear the last word.
I think she said solving problems.
Solving problems.
Activities or solving problems?
Well, I would
in
say
the
that.
community.
I would say activities are solving problems. So yes.
Yeah, because since I became a commissioner in May until now, I feel like every issue we have, if I'm talking about my community, I'm working hard to solve a lot of issues. We have a lot of issues, and I'm doing that by myself. And I feel some some of these problems are solved, some is not, and still we have biggest issues, going on. I don't feel like we are benefit, anything for the community. That's my feelings.
Well, I mean, I totally appreciate, this is Commissioner Dillard talking. I totally understand your sentiments, and I do, if we can recognize that you did start with us in May, and a lot of us have been on for a few years, and we've been working hard to work on the mandates of the commission. Our commission was never created to specifically solve problems, but to find the issues and report back to the city council. So this report is basically the essence of what we were charged with in December of 2020. So.
Okay, yeah, this is a good point because I'm going to mention something. I'm going to give you example. And Commissioner Amos, he in that one, about the law for housing section 8. When we have these issues and we went to section 8, Rachel, the boss, and the other lady, I can't remember her name. Okay, they asked us to go to the city council meeting, and we went in July. Okay, and the people talked. But after that, from what I'm seeing, like these city councils, they don't have any authority. They don't have anything to do about it.
Yeah.
Zero. That's what I found out, like I wasted like maybe a whole month try to, like these people to understand. And I had a conversation with Bruce for 2 hours, and it came up, these people, this council city, they just employee with the city, okay, but they don't have anything to do. They don't have any effect.
Commissioner
for
Mohammed.
Section 8.
Commissioner Hamid, I definitely understand and hear your grievances and everything that's going on, and I agree with you. There are a lot of things that do need to be done, and that is your opportunity of being on this commission, is to provide some recommendations that you've experienced that can go into this report. Also, you can vote no on what we just said. You can say no if you don't agree with the $8,000
Oh, it's 4,000.
or
but up to-
$4,000 up to $8,000 for the person. And also, as we talked about earlier, I definitely encourage you to talk with the writer, Franklin, about your experience on the commission and as a community member, so that we can make sure that all people are heard about these issues.
Yeah, and after I realized, like that this city council, they just employee with the city, and they have nothing to do. I communicated with Stephanie, and she gave me legal aid lawyer, and I appreciated that this legal aid lawyer, Jim, he gave us a paralegal, and now we started like to file discrimination through the legal aid. His name is Sam, and he maybe so far we have like 7 or 8 families, filed as a discrimination, and now it's still going on.
Yeah, and
That it's concerning me to give the report to the city councils, because they're going to read it and they're going to put it away.
I mean,
It's not going to be.
I hear what
don't
you're saying.
feel It's going to be something happen. I'm very frustrated. At that time with Section 8 and what is going, and my conversation with Bruce, and I found, like I talked to Eric. Eric's the lawyer for the city. He said to me he cannot do anything. And that is very frustrated me now. The city council is asking about a report from us. This is not fair.
I hear your concerns. I think they're valid. We're still required to put a report together as a commission, and it's what we have to do. If we don't hire someone, then we have to do it, and I don't have time to do it, as we all have discussed over the last few months, and that's why we brought this writer forth, so that they can help us. And as Commissioner Simmons had brought up earlier, we want to explain our experiences, and the grievances that you just made are in line with the sentiments of just the experiences of the last 4.5 years. So please don't feel like I'm ignoring you, or any of us are ignoring what you're saying. We're tied to what we have to do as a commission, and I hope you can understand that. Commissioner Simmons, did you want to add in?
Can I just say something quickly?
Yeah.
If I have option, I would like, like to report to the city councils, like, it's not like hiring a reporter or contractor, okay?
You do know that we are going to be. I'm sorry, Commissioner Mohammed, I just have to interrupt you real quick, because you do realize that we will be presenting to the city council in early winter or late winter or spring. So you will have an opportunity to present and talk to the city council.
Yeah, but my suggestion to skip that step to give the report. I hope this, like a real life. We have a lot of exactly in my community. We are the biggest community now. Like to report to this council, not by writing. I need them to be involved. Like sitting with these people and sitting and hear how they are suffering in this community from everything, from discrimination at work, discrimination, everything. I need this, like, not just, report something written to the city council so they can read. I need them to see and to hear and involve and feel the pain. This is me, This is my way. But report to them and pay someone money, we can use that money for a lot of stuff. Not to the city. I'm very frustrated,
Yeah.
from everything is going.
It is very frustrating, and would
because
love to talk about this a little bit more outside of the meeting.
In that community, Chastity, I'm in that community, and every day, okay, people called me for what is happening to them every day. Every day. You know, like today I went with a friend. She lives in subsidizing housing, okay? And she's gonna be evicted because she cannot pay for subsidized. I went to the Fraser Rich manager. I said, give her 3 days notice so she can find shelter pay for her. We have people in our community, they are suffering from discrimination. They lost their job.
And I do
And
agree with you,
making
and I think
frustrated.
I think what you're giving us is an opportunity to get testimonials and take video and talk to people like we've been trying to do, witness testimonials that they can talk about their issues of discrimination. There's still time to do that. So how about you and I find a time that we can either put that on camera or in writing and add it to the reports? Because I'm
I'm
sure.
gonna be honest with you, Chastity. These people, they don't want camera, they don't want anything. They need solution.
Okay, and-
People lost their job like
And I
no
hear you.
time because discrimination.
And Commissioner
Last
Mohammed,
week-
I
last week-
hope you realize that our commission's duties is not to provide the solution, but recommendations to the city. We have.
But the city is doing nothing, Chastity. From what happened for Section 8, we wasted a month.
I hear
between
you,
Section
but
8
that is not our
between,
job. That is not this
between
commission's job.
councils.
Our commission's
happened.
job is for fact-finding, truth-telling, and reconciliation. And part of that is to tell the stories of people in the community and share with how we can better people's lives that have been affected by racial
Okay, I'm
injustice.
gonna tell you something. The next day of I think July 13, when we went to the city council with these families, maybe like 5, 6, 7, guess what happened? The next day, I communicate with the city, okay, with the lady, I can't remember her name. She gave me, she said, okay, we need to communicate with the city councils about this Section 8 issue and what is happening, you know, and she told me they will get back to me. Until this time, since July, August, September, October, November, no one tried to communicate with me. I gave my phone number, my email, everything. No one tried to email me what is going on, what happened to this family. Nothing happened. We don't have obligation to report to the city councils. We don't, because they are not helping.
Commissioner Mohammed, this is
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons.
Hi, how are you?
First thing, I'm wonderful. Look, I understand your frustration, and actually, I think your frustration is well placed. And what I was communicating is that some part of it is that there are people there that are designed that are supposed to be able to help, and these are very good people. But the systems, the way they're sometimes put together, do not allow the help to actually get to the people that need it. And what this report, in my opinion, minimally should do is to say, based on the experiences that we've had, through the things that we have learned and gone through, and through our relationship with working with the city council as well as with the city, there are things that need to be changed if they ever believe that they plan on being inclusive, which was the whole concept of, the movement. So what I would just simply say to you is that you are absolutely right, and if you are frustrated, you should be, and it's well placed. But this report has to be able to share, and it's one of the things that the reporters will have the ability to get, and the city council will get, and the city will get, that in many cases, that though everyone is well-intentioned and trying to do good things, it's very hard to get everyone on the same page to actually get anything done. And I think we just have to use this report as our ability to be able to do that. And the last thing I would tell you is, this is one of the few commissions that that's been for maybe 4 years, met twice a month. Most commissions don't even do that. And so this commission has acted as if they did work for around 8 years of meetings, in addition to the other meetings that have happened. So this is an opportunity for us to be able to say, here's some things that we need to think about from a policy perspective, but here's some things we also need to think about from a practice and a culture perspective. You all can, on one end, say that you're committed to us, but then put all the roadblocks into place that never allow us to be able to make this thing work.
Thank you for that, but okay. I don't know. I don't know what to say, but just I'm frustrated and disappointed, because what happened since July is nothing changed, and no one tried to communicate with me and ask, and that, make me more frustrated and disappointed. It's like we have real issues going in my community. It's like in real life, people going through a lot, and we try to solve the problem, but nothing happened.
Well, Commissioner Mohammed, I'm sorry that we can't solve it all right now, but I do agree with what Commissioner Simmons said, and I do understand your frustration, and I feel like you absolutely should be frustrated. We do have to continue the vote, and I want to remind you that you can vote no, yes or no, or abstain, but we would like, I do have to ask you, which one do you choose?
Okay, before I choose, when this report get to the city councils, are they gonna reconsider some stuff, or is there's gonna be a solution for
That is-
every problems?
I mean, that is the hope and the goal. We've had conversations about what we truly believe will happen afterwards. We will be able to submit the reports, and then we will have an opportunity to present to the city council, and even pose that question of, will you act on our recommendations? And it'll be public. So,
Yeah, but
I
from
can't-
my
we
understanding,
can't force them.
from Bruce before,
yeah.
from my understanding from Bruce before, he talked to me for like almost two hours. That these city councils, they cannot do anything. They cannot solve this problem is going on. Exactly like Section 8 law. They cannot do nothing about it. We need to fight that. But he said they cannot.
If I'm going to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know what the city council will do. I can only control what we present to them and what we convey to them. It's entirely up to the city council after our commission ends on December 31st.
Okay, how about this suggestion? How about each for us go talk to the city council, just chatting with them, like to get understand from them if they have a power to do something, to change. They are city council for city of Iowa City. And these people, they are resident in city of Iowa City. How we can do that, like just try to communicate with them. We divided ourselves and try to communicate with them. Just chatting with them, talk to them, okay? And tell them what is going on if they don't know.
I think we have done that, and I always encourage all of our commissioners to talk to all city council members about all the things.
Where is they are, Chastity? Chastity, I gave them my communications information. No one emailed or called me back. No.
I understand that
And one of them,
frustration,
one of
yes.
them is Mazahir. She's in the Sudanese community. Why she did not communicate with me?
How about after
took
this
it
meeting,
out.
I will try to get in touch with all of the city council, and I'll make sure that you and I, or just you, can go and talk to each one of them.
I would like to do that, yeah,
Okay?
as
So,
soon as possible.
yeah, so how about after the meeting, yeah, right after the meeting, we'll talk to each other and we'll make a plan for that and see how that can work. Because I think you're right, it can be difficult speaking to some people in city government, but it's not impossible. So I would love to help you with that. I do have to
I don't want to
ask
talk to
about,
Mazahir, because Mazahir knew about the Sudanese issue. I want to talk to the other councils. They are not in the Sudanese community.
and we'll work together to do that, but I do have to take us back to the question, and so we can move on with the meeting, because it is 9 p.m. We've been here for about 2 hours, and I'd love to know what your answer is for the vote. So yes, no, or
Okay,
abstain.
I'm going to say yes, but I need to do that also.
Awesome. I will, as soon as the meeting's over, we will talk.
And just as a refresher,
Okay.
there's a motion that was moved to negotiate up to, well, to allow the chairperson to negotiate up to $8,000 for compensation for the draft final report. Chad moved in, Commissioner Simmons moved and Commissioner Tassinari seconded. So all those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. And so I would love to, I think we've actually covered everything on agenda item 5. If there's anything that we do need to talk about, please speak now.
Before we move to the other, I think as part of that motion, I want to just make sure there's an understanding that the payment has to be given after the delivery of a certain portion of the report. Can we add that, all that motion will include all
I mean,
that?
we've already voted on the motion, so I think it's too late to add on to a motion, but
I think you can make a new motion if you want.
if you'd like to make a new motion, go ahead.
Let me look back at the,
I mean, it does say in here when the
I want
payment
to look
schedule
back at
is.
the,
Yeah, it's not, if you
so
look-
you no longer want them to,
I mean, the payment schedule,
yeah, I mean to,
The way I set it, I was suggesting that upon receipt of the
Of each
report.
part?
Yeah. The first two go together, the executive and the main report, and then there will be other materials well compressed in a manner that can be put in, restored somewhere for future use. And that should also, that's what I was thinking. I did not want a situation where a person comes, gives you the report, and he has not completed everything, because the person is not going to complete the compression of the appendix, where all these things that we have had, the videos and meetings are going to be compressed. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do all that at the time of the delivery. In that case, it's going to be at one time. Other than that, it could be in two parts, where what we need immediately and what could be.
so I think you probably need to revisit page 6, section 5 of the, that's why I questioned about the executive summary and all of that, because that's what was, but in any event, let's just go back to that. So currently, you have the executive summary report by date 1 to the TRC. So do you want that in there, or do you want that scratched? And if you want that in there, what date do you want the executive summary by?
I mean, I think
That was 17th.
we want everything by the 17th. But I guess that's why I was confused by executive summary. I didn't realize that's what you were, I was thinking it's all one report.
Right, because I think the way this evolved,
I
somewhat
see.
organically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that it was a bigger report, then we all sort of agreed that it was going to become a smaller, more concise report. So the fact that,
But concise can still be 20 pages. Like,
yeah, but he's not going to write 20 pages in 3 weeks.
well, he wouldn't because it would be compiled already and just put together, right?
Yeah, potentially, you're right,
Yes, because I'm not saying right or from scratch.
right.
So I don't see how this could be a 5-page report, but just with what we have. But so what is the suggested changes, Commissioner Kiche?
I wanted the agreement to talk about delivering a portion of the report, maybe executive and the main report, and a payment, a certain portion of the agreed upon payment, which we don't know right now. A certain percentage, maybe we agree on a percentage, maybe 60% of the.
Could it be
It-
like he gets a percentage when he gives us the full draft, and then the remaining after we approve it by the 31st?
You know, it's too bad that there's not a city attorney here.
I would really love to just let
Yeah.
the city attorney decide.
But why don't we just leave things the way they are? If we have to hold a special meeting to modify something, that you can do that, and we can jump on a Zoom, and if it only takes 10, 15 minutes, at least Eric is here to answer the questions, because it could be you're going over stuff that's not in your purview, and I just don't know. And so if there's a hiccup, we'll set up a Zoom at a time where at least a majority of you are here and can vote, or a quorum at least, but we'll just do it on Zoom or something like that, okay?
But just to be clear, your main concern is that there's no payment before we are delivered something? Was that?
Yeah, there could be situations where somebody can say, this is what I have, and you agreed you're going to pay me 8,000. He didn't say this, he didn't say this, he didn't say this.
As long as city staff understands that.
I mean, again, I think it would be the city's, you know, it's kind of like with the facilitators, right?
Right.
I mean, there were thoughts and opinions about that process.
Right.
As long as the person executes whatever's in the contract, I don't really think that, you know, but whatever, Eric, you know, can answer those questions for you guys. But you know, I'm not, you might be talking about things that I just don't, you know, so.
Okay, so keep as is, but ask Eric for clarification on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'll just send out I'm not in the office all day tomorrow, so I will do my best to catch up with him. But if not, Monday is, of course, Veterans Day, so it could be Tuesday. But not much would probably happen between, you know, tomorrow and with Monday being a holiday, so.
That is
But I
perfectly
will
fine.
get on it stat.
Appreciate it. Any other questions, concerns about agenda item number 5 before I move on to number 6? Commissioner Kiche?
No, any other question?
Okay.
We can proceed, yes.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you for everyone's work on this. I'd love to move on to agenda item number 6, announcement of commissioners. Anyone? Announcements from staff? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Oh, if,
I want announcement of commission. I wanted you to talk about the last meet and greet event that you attended.
I don't know if that would be announcement from commissioners, but that would have been under agenda item number 5, under other, which is actions for phases 3 and 4.
Okay.
Would you like to go back to that?
I don't think.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I don't have anything to say about our last meeting, but if anyone would like to hear about it, I would love to talk to you after the meeting. Feel free
Yes.
to make your announcement,
So,
but make it quick.
yeah, this was part of the events that we had scheduled, the second greet and meet event that we had at
Oh,
Massa.
actually, we can't do this because we're in the announcements section and we didn't move back. So
Okay.
this is
sorry.
not an announcement, so
Okay,
we
sorry.
won't talk about it this time.
Okay. That's
All right, so if there's no announcements from anyone, we are going to motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
Thank you.